this is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is February 13th, 2020. It is 5:30 p.m. and this is the work session of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. So item number one on your agenda this evening, we did talk in the month past, and since then, I and Brittany have worked on something. You'll see in front of you that photo of Main and Commercial, taken from the 100 block north Commercial looking south. We located a bunch of photos that had been taken that we were going to use. I think she had taken them we were going to use in our strategic plan. There were just a bunch of photos that were taken. So this in particular was eye-catching to the two of us. We think it, pretty well spells out. You see the peak in the background, and you do actually see building facades, and that everybody recognizes. So, bring this in front of you all to consider, because we do want to take this program forward, and if we can make this happen tonight, using this maybe a couple of times in the newspaper, and then taking that mailing list that we had for the property owners that it went out to the last time, send it out in that mailing, and see if we get any response to this. We're open to comments and suggestions.
So we can't make decisions though. We're in a work session, right?
We are, but I mean, we've talked that we were gonna do this. So it's just a matter of do we wanna do this and go forward with it?
I really like this. I think you guys did a great job.
I think it was really eye-catching.
I think you should take their cars out.
I do too. There's too many cars.
Well, that shows we're busy and bustling.
There you go, we're bustling, there you go.
But we talked about it, and I don't know, maybe we could have included it under old business, but we talked about it last month, that we wanted to do something like this, and there it is. So, if we have discussed it, we were gonna do it. And I don't know if we have to take any action on it. We've got a program, we wanna advertise it. And so I don't know the needs of.
Does it have to be even a vote?
I don't believe so.
I like this.
I don't believe so. If this is agreeable with everybody, we can, again, get it ready for, get it to the Chronicle, and they can, set up for print, and then we will merge it with our mailing list and, get it out there. Now, here's one of the things that was my thought with this as well. They will make contact with City Hall applicants will make contact with City Hall to want to get the application and get a copy of the guidelines for the program. I'm thinking that we want to make available with this sheet is all the commissioners' names and contact information. So if they want to contact one of us individually, we can tell them what the program is all about. There may be people that would have preference to speak,
Feel more comfortable.
Yeah, so, I can say, hey, I know Luis Lopez, maybe I'll talk to him about it. And so my thought is, in addition to putting this out in the mailer, to also have all the commissioners' names and contact numbers via telephone and or email.
You could put it on the back of this.
We can, but we gotta get it, but I wanna know if that's up to everybody's agreement, that, since we act as a commission, if anybody wants to contact us individually, we can have our contact information go out with it as well.
I think that's a great idea. I think that maybe we should concur on the bullet points and so that everybody's giving out the same message.
Maybe a sheet with some talking points.
Talking points,
Right.
bullet points, so that we know, and then decide that if it goes beyond that and they want more information, then we need to be able to refer.
Then we'll say, well, call in. Right?
Well, I think the bullet points could be if you just get a copy of the policy. Just go ahead and get the guidelines, to get the policy, that in itself should give the information.
It's not that in depth.
Yeah, so I think that could be the one. I mean, it'll go from there, and again, if it needs more than that, we can formulate a way to do it. But I think that sometimes that's the eye catcher, is like, you look at it and say, well, who's Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority? And then if you see some names you can relate to, that would open it up for people to ask questions and maybe, go a little bit more. That's my suggestion. Brittany and I discussed that a little bit last week when she was putting this together. So, I think a little bit of some relationship there where people, somebody, one particular property owner may say, well, I know Fran Belani, why don't I get a hold of her and get some detail on this? If that seems to go with everybody.
I'm just happy to see it moving forward.
Yes. And I know I've got it here, but would you mind emailing this along with a copy of the policy and an application? So I have it all together in one file. I don't know if anybody else. I would
Sounds
like
a good
that.
idea.
Send it to all of you?
Mhm.
Okay.
That way if somebody calls me, I have that in front of me.
Okay. Alright.
But I think we're ready to go. Just a matter of design, and I gotta give praises to Brittany because she's got a pretty good mind for graphic design, and we found the photo, she put all that together there, so.
I wonder where it comes from.
That's what he said too.
Yeah. My father actually could
Is it?
That's very
Alright.
good.
So any more questions on that, any more input, are we good to go with this, we've talked about it, we got a new policy in place, let's see if we
Can I
get.
ask who we're gonna advertise with, just in the paper?
Why don't you go to print, and I don't know, I guess we could find a way to put it on social media, right? I'm not too good with that, so I.
On the city's website, yes.
Yeah.
I can.
I'm not sure who's running the social media right now.
Des.
Des?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll give it to her.
I have
And so when
access
you
to it
say
too, I can
adver-
help,
I'm
but
sorry.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
I just said I have access to it too if you need help, but Daz
Okay.
is the one who normally would do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that I gotta say, I need assistance on from, I put very little into social, I'm not that good at it, I'm not a participant, so,
And we can put it on the county, website as well if you like.
okay.
Oh, that would be nice.
That'd be great.
So I'll just forward that to Paula and Lucero
Okay.
and ask her to put that on the website.
Do you have an email address for her you can send me?
Yeah, I'll get that to you.
Okay.
And then you would do Chronicle News and Werfenal World Journal, or would you not do the Werfenal
I
World?
wouldn't think the
I mean, I
World
know they have an
Journal-
office here now, but it's still really a Walsenburg newspaper.
That's up to you
Yeah,
guys. but
I'd say, let's go a couple times in the Chronicle, and, and get it out there, because it is still, I think it's got a pretty good circulation, and, we'll try it out there, and then we'll get together, we'll get that mailing going, and, we have the funds to do it, so let's go ahead and do it. So if anybody thinks of it,
That email will be paula.lucero, Paula dot Lucero, Lucero at losangelescounty.org.
anybody else has anything on that, we'll go forward then to, item number 2 is vacancy. I believe that, there, for all intents and purposes, is or will be a vacancy, Commissioner Terrabino's position. I did send a written communication to him 31st of December, outlining what was, and I think I provided everybody with a copy of that letter.
Yes.
And I've not received any response, so I have forwarded on that information to the mayor, and I believe that will be an item that they address at next week's meeting, their next regular scheduled meeting. It is to be on their agenda, and they'll take action on that, and when that happens, then it will be up to them, city council, to advertise on the boards and commissions to note that there's a seat open on the Urban Renewal Authority. Okay. So that was sent to the mayor and to the city clerk, so that would be on their agenda next week. Anything else? Anybody have any questions on that? Comments?
Did you get any response from them?
I have not. And they did go by ordinary mail also. Item number 3, land transfer. We are all aware that in the very recent past, the city of Trinidad did transfer by quitclaim deed a parcel of land that would be basically at the very north end of Maple Street as it approaches Cedar Street. We were given all that information in the past. We're wanting to, and the city has, and I have contacted a couple of times, Trinidad Abstract. They're working on the research on it, that they could go ahead and prepare a warranty deed that would, ultimately the city would redo that and provide us with the title to that land on warranty deed. Although slow, I expect that to happen, and it should be in the very distant future.
They told me to check with them tomorrow.
Okay, okay.
So,
Yeah, they had told Mike Friday, and I just hadn't had a chat, and I feel bad going over there to ask, 'cause I know they're busy.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, but anyway, so when that happens, the next step here is we need to talk about and prepare for that. There's no reason for us to sit on that piece of land. You know, we have a bunch of other little parcels that, you know, at some point, we still need to decide what we're gonna do with those. If anything, you know, we know where they're at, and we don't really know what probability of usage on them might be. But this one is coming, you know, this is something out there that we can offer for sale. That being the case, I'm thinking that we need to have a little bit of expertise on this. The state statute regulates how that is done, the urban renewal law dictates how that is to be done. But it's got a lot of intricacies in there, and although I think, I understand it, and it would be, you know, brought forward, I'm thinking that we need to contact Malcolm Murray and have him give us the guidelines, and, you know, basically we'll formulate our own solicitation, and we will go through that part of it, but I want him to be able to give us the dictate on it, how we wanna make sure that it happens, you know.
And how it goes to bid?
How it goes to bid, and what the bid has to contain. We will solicit bids on it, and under urban renewal, under statute, it basically says you will solicit bids, and there will be other criteria that comes with it. It's not only the monetary, but we have to do, you know, there has to be a specification of what the usage would be, and then what that usage would be a benefit to the residents of the city of Trinidad, and the bidders would actually have to be vetted to determine that what they're going to propose is that they have the capabilities of carrying it out. And
Basically, we want some professional help out to prepare the bid docs.
pretty much, yeah, but I do have that information available. I didn't print it, but it is available by, some of us would have it. You'll have that was provided to us in the beginning. You should all have this, and I'm afraid you guys, we've still overlooked that. This was and I'm representing that all that stuff that TURA, I'll make sure it happens. I said it and I have failed, but I'll get that to you. Okay. But if that's what it basically says in the state statute, is it when it tells us how we can acquire land, and we acquired it by gift from the city of Trinidad. We wanna call it, I don't know what other word can be used. But then for the divestiture of the land, or the disposal of land, it's pretty absolute in how it has to be done. So therefore, I'm thinking that we need to do that, and so at this point, I'm asking, I guess, should I start making contact with Malcolm Murray? Or does anybody else here wanna make that contact?
We trust you.
But I think we're at that point. I mean, this is, you know, once we have possession of the land. Technically, we
Right.
have possession of that by quitclaim deed, but that's, you know, probably a buyer's not gonna wanna acquire a piece of property by virtue of a quitclaim deed. And so once that happens, we will have it, and, you know, I just wanna get ready for the next steps. Okay, that other thing too is, I'll have to get from him an idea as how we're going to create a value on that land. You know, once we get to that point, then we have to make some determination and figure out where we're going to determine a value on that land. So you know, we gotta get there.
Yeah.
And that'll, you know, we have to have, professional appraisal service, whatever else the case may be. But when we do that, it's gonna have to be, you know, whatever the low end price we put on it, we gotta make sure we capture legal fees and advertisement fees and, appraisal fees, whatever it's gonna be.
Why do we have to put a low end value on it?
Well, because if we have appraisal costs, legal fees, Malcolm Murray, and publication costs and those, we wanna make sure that we can at least recover that. wanted to come in and be sold for an amount less than we've got out there trying to get it sold. I mean, if our costs are $2,000, I don't wanna bid for $1,500.
That's my question, Ed, is, so are you saying that we have to sell that land for, just to cover our costs, because that's what it's.
No, I'm saying,
Or do we have to sell it at market value?
I'm gonna get the methodology of how that has to be, and there may be required, you know, with most real estate transactions, an appraisal of some sort to make a determination of what it is, which would include comparables of any recent sales that are in the vicinity, or within the town, but probably within the vicinity, and I know there are. So that being the case, what I'm saying is, we'll have to determine is of, you know, when we put it out there, is an amount to make sure that our costs will be covered. You know, I don't want, again, you know, we have a couple $1,000 in costs and we get a bid lower than that. I don't think that's anything that we would, you know, a reserve, if you wanna call it.
I guess as a real estate agent, I'm having a difficult time trying to figure out how we could get, you know, a low bid of $1,500 for that large.
Well, I mean, that's just an example. I mean, it would be, but I'm just trying to say that we are gonna incur costs. And therefore, we want to make sure that, because you don't know what somebody's bid may come in, you know, it's, you know, it could be speculatory and then provide you with an amount that is laughable, if you wanna call it that. But it's one of those that we gotta make sure that, you know, when that price will be ultimately agreed on by this board. You know, when, you know, whatever we determine, and I believe in my uneducated and inexperienced buying and owning real estate, we might have to set a reserve.
I'm not
Are we
familiar with the
putting
bidding
it-
process,
yeah.
but can we reject all bids?
Probably, yeah. There could be a disclaimer in there, that's one. And like I say, this'll, once we get that from Malcolm Murray, but this is a matter that, you know, we need to address. We'll get that from them, but, you know, my thought, and given thought to this, is that when there's a value, you know, if there's an appraisal value, a market's value set on it, you know, we would assume that it's high enough that we will make some recovery.
Well, I think you need to get the appraisal first, and then the board can determine the particulars moving forward with how the bidding or reserve will put on. Find out what it's worth
Yeah.
first. And we all know it's to promote business and development, but at what cost or what little
Right.
cost, so.
Yeah.
I think you just put one step at a time, contact the
Yes.
attorney, in my opinion, and see how we prepare the bid docs, and then we make a decision based on that, after we get an appraisal of some sort, if that's required by.
I think we
Well,
should go
probably.
out and get I think we should get it appraised, period, as soon as possible. We can get it appraised while all this other stuff is going on.
Do we wanna undertake that? Well, we don't have that as an action item on tonight's agenda, but I mean, in preparation for it.
I think an appraisal, by some, certified appraiser is a necessity, not an option, in my opinion.
Well, sure.
I agree.
You probably know more certified appraisers around here than anybody else.
Limited supply, I think.
Yeah, and probably you wanna look at somebody who's more versed in land, but most appraisers are good at being able, and as Ed said, it has to, the value has to come from comparables. So, whatever that is, we might say, well, we want, $500 a square foot, well, that's really nice, but maybe that's not gonna hold up. So they'll know that.
How long does an appraisal usually take?
For land,
Mm-hmm.
and land in the city probably wouldn't take more than, it depends on, we're shy of appraisers now, but, it probably wouldn't take more than 3 weeks. But, and maybe less, but So,
Okay, so first thing then, coming away from this, I'll get a hold of Malcolm Wright and get all the particulars, how we run it from the base. The next part will be, and then that may take that we have to pass sufficient action on it to hire an appraiser. So if we do not want to spend any money, but we will spend money, I should say, so.
well, Malcolm isn't exactly,
Yeah, that's $2.25 an hour, I think.
I think the appraiser will be a little bit less than that.
Okay.
But I think that, you know, even with an appraiser, you wanna be very specific as to what our outcome is.
Okay. Well, one of, and, well, before it gets out of my mind, is, and it's in the state statute, I just have to go looking for it. But it does say in there that the sale on it is based upon a fair value. It's a market value. It says a fair value. So I don't know the exact, the exact, definition of that. But just so we know, it doesn't totally recognize it in the paragraph of the statement, but it just says it is an establishment of a fair value, and that's what it's sold at. So, you know, I guess the definition of fair value, I have to get that determined, I don't know what it is.
I have to agree with the professional in the real estate business of getting the appraisal. And then we can determine as a board from there what is a fair value, not a fair market value, based on the appraisal and based on our opinion.
And fair value may very well be fair market value, depending.
Right.
Okay.
Can we discuss some of this under new business? No?
Not under new business.
Old business?
We got the, no, because we'd have to have that scheduled on the budget. Okay, item number, okay, we're done with that. I will make that step, is that me?
Got you?
Okay, item number 4, the budget report, and maybe we have it worded wrong, but in your agendas, I did include this month, and that's where you see the copy of that, color copy, with that, what was going to be our, or is our, brochure. It actually is an existing document, that is something that we have available to us if we want to print it out. That was in conjunction with when the strategic report was put together by Ayers and Associates. So that cumulatively with all the other information, including the budget message, is what I submitted this year to DOLA for our 2020. To let you know why this is here is because I went and used prior year's format in submitting to DOLA, and it was pretty skinny. I mean, I gave them what I had seen, and I prepared it for 2020. It was not accepted that way. And so it had to be reformulated and put through, so all that information that was put through is what went to the Department of Local Affairs. You can review this and all prior submissions on behalf of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority that were sent in by prior executive directors by visiting the DOLA website and looking for local government in Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority, and you will see what's, I believe there are 4 previous reports in there. But this one was accepted, but the original submission was not accepted because it didn't fit the format. But again, I used as my template what had been done before, and it was not accepted, so it was resubmitted and accepted.
You know, I think I found a typo in this budget message.
You can find it up there.
Read the second line in the first paragraph.
Of blight. Is that what you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe so, but again, they accepted it, so.
They accepted it,
yeah.
but we see how to make that correction for the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, is there any questions on that? It's in there, and, on there, you'll see the 2020 budget estimates. That is what we were, at that particular point, assuming that we're going to collect for the upcoming year. I think that 35,000 may be in the $40,000 range based on that information that was given to us after this was, sent into the state of Colorado. So the $5,000, the land sale, very conservative. I don't know what that's gonna be, but that will be, that is a projected revenue for the coming year. And so the totals of what is expected to happen. Anything else, any questions on that? Okay, item number 5, administrative duties. And I'm bringing this up now because in conjunction with what's, we talked about earlier, the land transfer. We do have administrative duties that are being handled by myself and by, Brittany. But, you know, and that includes the formulation of the budget, of the agenda, the budget that we're gonna discuss here in regular meeting, and other things. But as time progresses, I gotta tell you that there are certain aspects of this that get a little bit time consuming. And I think I'm thinking that I need a little assistance on it, you know, beyond, I think that this needs, so we need to consider that. You know, do we want this with, you know, it's totally in the hands of the chair, do we wanna have co-chair with it, however. But, you know, we need to, you know, a consideration, because it does take, some creativity actually in creating a agenda to get all these topics on for discussion. So, you know, I think more minds on it would be that much better for it, but I'm bringing that up. And by the way, tonight is our annual meeting. That's why we have the election of officers under new business. But February is the annual meeting of the Trinidad Urban Renewal. So when we get to that part and however we do that, I'm just mentioning the administrative duties because there are certain things that need to be addressed, and sometimes it's, I think it would be easier from my standpoint for that to have one more handy. So we would need to discuss how we would want to do that. It doesn't have to be all the time, it could be a rotation, but we do need to be that, because like I say, just sometimes in the formulation of the agenda to get some of these, it does take some creativity.
And maybe that should be somewhat of a consideration for filling our vacant seat too. If someone has the time and expertise to help you with this. I would volunteer to do more of this, but I don't know if you all know, but I will be leaving in a
Yes.
few months. And I need to get you a letter
Yeah.
to that effect, or I would volunteer to, you know, share the
I
budget.
understand, but, and like I say, it's nothing critical, but as I thought about this, I'm trying to put this together, so, cause some of these are topics of, okay, this is my thoughts on what we need to talk about, cause this is the business I'm thinking of, but am I missing anything? And so it's one of those things where, you know, again, item number 6 is something that we wanna formulate for future, you know, so if we need to have them discussed, we need them to get to us so that they can get it for discussion. Because again, you know.
What's your timeframe that you start working on this, like 2 weeks before the meeting?
Well, it can be variable. It depends on what it is. Like with the budget that I had to get into DOLA, that actually took one of my Saturday mornings, which is fine. I mean, it's one of those. But you know, and again, it's putting it together. Sometimes, okay, did I you know, not do something, or, you know, so it's just something to consider. I mean, it isn't that critical, but sometimes I just wanna make sure that what's being brought forward is to everybody's satisfaction, because you know, did I not bring enough forward, you know, are we getting there like we should?
I like that idea. I like the fact of wanting to include more minds to help you. With that said, maybe a rotation, each board member every month, different member every month assisting the chair to get a different perspective from each board member on what the agenda items can be. We can discuss them in here, but oftentimes we don't. We forget or it slips our minds, but if you're prepared to come to a meeting with the chair to set up agenda items and topics, every single one of us brings a different aspect to this board. And I think with the new members coming on board, that might even make it broader. And that'd be my recommendation, that we all take a hand in helping, instead of putting it on one or two people.
I like that suggestion. Because as you say, we all have a different perspective and, think of different things in different ways.
And that way you don't kill me. or even Ed anymore for that fact.
Yes.
So
And
spreads it out.
and we've been reliant in all years past on having an executive director do it. And that was fine when we had somebody that, you know, that was doing it, i.e. like our city manager and going back. And I don't think it would be cost effective for us to go in that direction at this particular point. We don't need it because we don't have anything ongoing as far as the execution of projects. Maybe that will happen. But now the other thing that comes to being is if we start getting applicants for this, on the facade program, you know, it's gotta take a couple of us pretty regular on it to get it ready to bring it to the rest of the board. So, you know, it would be, and it doesn't, every time that it happens, it doesn't particularly have to be the chair in the middle. Actually, maybe I'm not gonna be the chair. There's an election tonight. There's an election tonight, you know that. So I just bring that up for thought, because it is, just like I say, you know, one person's mind may not be hitting on all aspects, so therefore it could be necessary.
So we make that an agenda item for next month to make that decision? Because the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Why put it off another month?
Yeah.
Do that.
Well, I don't think we need any, I don't think that takes any official action. If we wanna come to that understanding tonight, we can say, yeah, we can do it on a rotation basis. We can have that happen, and, you know, if that's to everybody's agreement. You say, you know, for the month of March, I and whoever, and somebody else will, you know, get going on it. And this matter with the land transfer thing, and in conjunction with the, talking to Malcolm Murray, you know, like that might need to be, two persons in tandem as well.
It also keeps transparency, or keeps the appearance that no two people are guiding this board in any one direction.
Correct.
Whether we want to or not, right?
I've learned a lot in the last couple of years.
So has anybody else any ideas on that? Like I say, I brought that forward because something I thought about when I'm trying to put this together, is that, so it might, you know, what I put together, am I bringing together information that is useful and to the point? Okay, so for March, let's take that forward till we get to the afternoon business. We'll discuss it part of the new business. I think that would be the part. Okay. Any other discussion or input on that, on item number 5? If there's not, we'll go to item number 6. Is there anything that anybody on the board feels that we need to have on the agenda for discussion? For the next meeting in March, which is March the 12th.
I think it would be great if everything's rolling the way it sounds like, is if we could have some names of people to do the land and let's get moving on it. Cause this is the time people are gonna buy, if they're gonna build or do anything with it, this is the time they're gonna.
You're talking about getting an appraisal?
Yeah, get appraisals and get whatever we can get.
We
They said that-
need to solicit that.
Right. We'll need to get names and.
It's not under, we don't have a big procurement process like the county or the city does, so I don't think we need to.
No, I think at this point it's the availability, finding the availability of those types of services, and I know it is somewhat limited for commercial appraisals.
Could
We're all
you give
looking
us
at you.
names? Sure.
We'll look
Fran
into
could
it,
give us
we'll,
names.
yeah,
Fran could
yeah.
give us some names.
But I think it's more, I don't think so much the people are gonna bid to do it, I think it's finding somebody who will do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as we're not tied to any bylaws that say we have to do a certain procedure, we can just find somebody and then make that motion or that agenda item to either approve or not at the next board meeting. That'd be a great agenda.
And speaking of appraisers,
Yes.
Yeah. I'll do a little bit of research to find out who has expertise on land. And, I mean, all of them do land, but it's just a matter of commercial land as well. So, sure, I'll do that.
And also another topic would be the seat, the empty seat. If the city council is gonna have a member by that time they have to vet them first, don't they?
The requirement will be that the next thing is for, you know, they'll have to declare that seat vacant. And they'll have to advertise for it. Once they do that, that individual is still required to be attended at the school meeting and vetted by us, whatever that process will be. Okay. All right, mark your calendars, March the 12th will be the next meeting, both, regular and work session. All right, if there's nothing else on the work session to be discussed, we will now go to regular meeting. Today is February the 13th, 2020. This is the regular meeting of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 1 on the agenda is a roll call.
Bolton?
Here.
Leone? Here. Lopez?
Here.
Matei?
Here.
Malani?
Here,
Gregor?
Good. Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes. Last meeting being January the 9th, 2020. Everybody was provided with an advance copy of those minutes for review, which I hope you've been able to look at. They're not very lengthy. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve what is presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Bolton?
Yes.
Leone?
Yes.
Lopez?
Abstain?
Matei?
Yes.
Malani?
abstain.
Gregor?
Yes. Item number 3 is the acceptance of the financial report. And everyone was provided with some information in your packet that you got electronically. But since that time, I and Brittany have had a meeting, and well, if you want to call it a meeting, but the finance director for the city of Trinidad, Cheryl Navarrete, we asked her to assist us with providing a different format for budget. So what you have, what was put in front of us this evening by Brittany, is a new format that I think we'll be using from here on in, that actually shows what our, a little bit, not a little bit different, a lot different from what we've had in the past. Now, if you look at that second page, if you see those numbers in red, those are the variances, but those are not bad variances because we are in no way out of what our budget is. I think what we have is what we have proposed for expenditures, and we haven't done it. It all shows in unfavorable red or in parentheses, but those are technically, if you look it up for what they are, there is nothing unfavorable. But in any case, you'll see that we had a beginning cash balance as of January the 1st of $210,714, and these are rounded to the next nearest dollar, up or down. We have revenues that came in during the month of January of 1,048, so we have a running balance right at this particular point of just around $211,762. Now, you will, bless you. In addition to that shows a running, but you will see what's in the check register, and you will see that $211,761.56. That is what resides in our checking account at this particular time. One of the things that's in there, but we won't be seeing that, we will remove that in the future. Anything that refers to what we had with Kip Hamden and Ashland properties, there's no relevance anymore, so we will not be seeing those. And if we have any pre-development agreements that we do take deposits for to work with into the future, my suggestion at that point would be that we segregated that into another account, because this created somewhat of a jumbled mess to try to keep it in our main operating account. So if for any reason that happens in the future, I'd like to see us go to segregated accounts for that, so that we don't have to commingle our general funds with monies coming in for deposits. And then Brittany, as you prepare in the future, give us that running schedule, the revenues that we're getting in from the county, so we can see those, cause you do that right now. So if you could just add to it, just give us that running schedule
I'll
along
update it
with
monthly.
this budget that we have, not budget, but this, yeah, it is our budget, Cheryl help us put together. I think that should suffice for each month. We won't need any of those other bills and that stuff to show up anymore.
Yeah, so I'll just create new tabs and then you can change the dates and stuff every month.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Is that acceptable, the format that we put
I like
together
that
in ours?
format better.
Yes, yes.
Well, that being said, is there a motion for the acceptance?
I'd make a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
A second.
Motion and a second. Are there any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Bolton?
Yes?
Leoni?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Matei?
Yes.
Valani?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes. Item number 4, consideration of bills. And I do not believe that we have any bills or expenditures for the month of this past month. I still need a motion and a second to pay no bills. So moved.
Oh. Second.
Motion and second, comments, questions, roll call.
Bolton?
Yes.
Leoni?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
Matei?
Yes.
Valani?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes, as a formality. Item number 5, petitions or communications, oral or written. And I don't believe there's any. Is anybody in the audience? Not. Item number 6, old business. We have none of record. Item number 7, new business. And again, this is our annual meeting. And bylaws state that this is the meeting that we will have an election of officers. So therefore, item number 1, item number 7A, election of a chairman. Are there motions?
I'd like to move that we retain Ed Grego as chairman.
On a second.
Yeah, second.
Motion and second. And I was afraid that motion was.
You want a third on that? I'll give it a third.
Well, I appreciate your confidence. Any other nominations? Nominations that are now closed. Roll call.
Bolton?
Yes.
Leoni?
Yes.
Lopez?
A very thankful yes.
Matei?
Yes.
Valani?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes. Item number 7B, election of a vice chair. Motions.
All right. I move to retain Carol Holden.
Motion.
I'll second. Oh, great.
Motion and a second.
I too was afraid of that.
Are there any other
That'd
nominations?
be quick, Carol.
I know it.
Nominations are now closed. Roll call.
Bolton?
Yes.
Leoni?
Yes.
Lopez?
A very thankful yes again.
Matei?
Yes.
Valani?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes. Before we leave that then, we talked a couple of other things earlier on the work session. There are a couple of things that need to transpire. One will be this part with communicating with Malcolm Murray to get rolling in anticipation of what's to come. So would you like that to be myself and vice chair at this particular point? Vice chair, you willing to
That's
help? out with
acceptable,
that?
then I'm willing.
I'm willing,
All
yes.
right. We'll get together and make initial contact probably by email, so that where he's at. I think I have his email, but if not, I'll have to bum that from you, Mike. In earlier discussion, we talked about the assumption that here very shortly there's gonna be a warranty deed. And so Trinidad Urban Renewal needs to go forward and get prepared for that. And we're gonna contact Malcolm to get all the guidelines that
Prepare the plan.
yeah, prepare it and go from there. So that, we'll do that. Vice Chair and I will take care of that portion. The second thing is, we talked about how we're going to do the, rotation for the, configuration of our agenda. Who would like to assist with that? Obviously, as chairman, I have to bring that together. Who wants to be on the rotation for the month of March?
I will assist you with that.
Okay. Okay, so let the record show that it will be at myself, Commissioner McKay, will, put it together, and we'll drop that all on you, Brittany.
Okay.
All right.
Just give me some guidance on where you begin.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll get together, like I said, it's a matter of determining what those things are that we think are needing to be addressed. Anything that's not been, that's sitting out there from prior months or years that we have, that if there's any, we could talk quite a few things, but some of them maybe, are not things that we wanna carry forward at this time, like the demolition and getting a hold of, when we talked about that program that we were gonna model after
Yes.
Monte Vista or something. That's something that still sits out there, but, is it prudent for us to do anything with that right now? But those are things that we need to
Yes.
talk about to move forward.
Okay.
Okay. We've got all that taken care of. Item number 8, report by executive director, of who we do not have. So move on to number 9, item reports by commissioners. Is there anything by commissioners that they wanna bring out this evening that,
I have nothing.
Nothing?
Say, I know it's probably not really important, but I went to the hospital meeting, they had a big hospital meeting. And because it is our Trinidad and urban renewal and the whole thing, I thought it was really nice. I said, I don't think most people realize what all is going into our new hospital. So if you ever get a chance to speak to any of the people out there, it would be really a wise thing to do. Because it's amazing, we're getting so much out there that I never even realized.
And the technology that they're implementing out at this hospital, is also gonna help assist us with, we met with DOLA last night and again today, about possibly integrating our broadband, to rural areas further, and then this hospital and other hospitals across the country be able to provide services with the technology that's been implemented. So it's an exciting time right now with medicine, so the hospital is really.
It's very good
Really
news. That's
stepping
good to
up.
hear.
I think staff out there's pretty excited about what's to
Oh,
come.
I bet.
And I just wanna apologize for not being here last month. I was, had the opportunity and invited by the governor himself to be at the state address.
I'd have gone to be with the governor too.
Okay, well then all those bad things we said about you, we take them back.
And I got out of town right when Mike called and said they're going home, don't worry about stopping in, so.
We wanted to make sure you knew.
So you pop and talk.
No, had dinner.
Okay, all right, anybody else, any other commissioners? Okay, I have nothing to report, except for those things that I've talked about this evening. That being said, item number 10, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I said that.
Motion and a second. If there are no dissenting votes, we will consider this meeting adjourned.
Good meeting.